Good evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Can everybody hear me?
And I was wondering, can everybody hear me? I just want to maybe do like this if you can hear me. Good.
Sounds perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, well, I wanted to welcome you to tonight's Solidarity and Compassion evening. We are now almost 4 years doing this every month since December 2016. And this evening's theme will be music and poetry to steady the heart. Oftentimes, with our Solidarity and Compassion project, we have a whole panel of speakers, sometimes from an interfaith tradition, sometimes people, community activists, people who are teachers in the community. And we thought at this point, many of us are kind of, how would I say, a little raw from all what's happening in the world and in our country. And so we thought it would be a good time to invite poets and musicians here tonight to share with us. And it actually have very few words. Much poetry, which is words, but artistic words, and not lecturing words, and music to really open the heart and warm the heart and steady the heart. And I hope this will also strike a tone for you. First, I wanted to introduce our wonderful guests tonight who will be contributing. And Michael Carney, my co-organizer, my husband, he will be speaking the welcoming words. But first, let me very briefly introduce the artists that are joining us tonight. I think all of you know me. I'm a meditation teacher, psychologist, author. Then Michael, can you kind of maybe raise your hand? Michael is my co-organizer. He's in his day life a palliative care and hospice doctor and author. And he loves also guiding and teaching meditations. And then there is, and you heard her already, Petra Persolja. And she is a Santa Barbara resident, but Slovenian born. And she's a doctor in musical arts. And she just got her doctorate from UCSB. And she has a master's in piano performance and is an international performer and pianist. And then there is, and I'm going the way people will be presenting tonight. Then there is Souken Danjo, or we call him lovingly Danjo-san. Maybe you'd like to raise your hand. And he is a Zen master and Buddhist monk and meditation teacher. And he zooms in for us from Hiroshima in Japan. And he has been visiting us for the last 8-9 years, every year in the summer. And this time we cannot do this, but he is with us quite often over Zoom, and he will sing the Heart Sutra for us today. Then we want to very warmly welcome Sojourner Kincaid, who is a poet laureate from Santa Barbara, and she's a playwright, poet, and educator. And maybe I don't know if we can see you. We welcome Sojourner so much. And then there is Anahita Navab Holden, and she has been presenting for us quite often. She is a psychologist and has a doctorate in psychology from UCSB, and she's a musician and helps me organize the music for the Solidarity and Compassion project. And she's bringing together, weaving together mindfulness, compassion practices, yoga and sound and psychology in quite a masterful way. And then we want to welcome Randy VanderMey. He's a teacher of poetry from professor of poetry from Westmont College, and he brings together poetry and photography, in which both of it we will be seeing here tonight. And he worked on very interesting subjects like Christian cliches and chaos theory. I'm just very interested in this. And I want to warmly welcome Yvette Holzwarth. She is a violinist and musical educator from Los Angeles, and that's the wonderful thing being on Zoom. We can have people from Los Angeles and Hiroshima and many other places. And she is an international performing artist, and she also creates music for film scores. And then there's Teddy Macker, and he's a poet, has been with us for many years, since he has been having the Dharma Poetry Evening with Barry Sparks many years ago. And so we want to also remember Barry. And so Teddy is a poet, and he has a master's in fine arts from UC Irvine, and he wrote several books on poetry, and he's the acting headmaster of the Waldorf School in Santa Barbara. And then there is David Rico, and he's an author of over 20 books on spirituality and psychology, and he's a beloved lecturer in Santa Barbara. And he brings together in quite a wonderful place a Buddhist view, a Catholic view, and a psychological view together. So I want to welcome you all, and all of us who are joining us tonight. And I want to hand over. What is that, Michael? I want to hand over to Michael Carney.
Okay. Thank you, Rolle, and good evening, everybody. So I really am impatient to get on to our wonderful invited guests this evening. So I just wanted to tell you a very short little story to begin the evening. And I'm going to use some slides for this. So the story is a story around the theme of how we can find deep security. Radley talked about how we can steady our hearts in times of great uncertainty and change. And it's a story about the very beginning of what's called the hospice movement, which I'm lucky enough to work in, have been working in one way or another for the last 40 years. It all began in this building you see in front of you called St. Christopher's Hospice in London. And this is the lady who began it all. Her name was Cicely Saunders. And one afternoon, she was showing around two American psychiatrists who had come over from the States to see what was happening in St. Christopher's, because they were curious, because they'd heard good things about it and they were interested. So she introduced them to a variety of people as they walked around the wards of St. Christopher's. And they met one person who just seemed so alive and so at peace, and so themselves, and yet probably just had days to live at that time. So they went back to Cicely Saunders' office afterwards to talk about what they'd experienced, and she asked them if they had any questions. And they said, well, what do you do to help somebody to come to such a place of peace right on the threshold of the end of their life, right in the threshold of death? And she remarked to the two psychiatrists that when patients are in a climate of safety, they will realize what's happening and in their own way and not be afraid. That's what she replied. And one of the psychiatrists replied to her, but how can you possibly speak of safety and providing safety for people when death itself is the most unsafe thing that can happen? And then the other psychiatrist came in and said, yeah, I think we're using the wrong word. I think the word is security. Just think about a little child during an air raid, and this is actually a photograph of a little child during an air raid during the Second World War. A little child during an air raid who's separated from her mother might be quite safe. She's in a bomb shelter. She's with people who will protect her, but she's separated from her mother. And because she's separated from her mother, she feels lost. She feels insecure. She feels frightened. Whereas a child in her mother's arms during an air raid, or in his father's arms at the US border, may be very unsafe indeed, but she or he feels quite secure. So Saunders replied, having heard what the two psychiatrists, she said, you're right, we have to give each person that feeling of security, that feeling of inner security, that feeling of inner being held, in which they can begin when they're ready to face unsafety. If we feel held in security, we can face even the most uncertain times with open hearts. And so I just want to quickly read through this beautiful last verse of the night chant of the Navajo, the Yabechi. In beauty I walk, with beauty before me I walk, with beauty behind me I walk, with beauty above me I walk, with beauty around me I walk, with beauty within me I walk. It is finished in beauty. 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 And so I think this evening is about walking in beauty in very uncertain times, that we might be held in beauty as a place of deep security. So thank you, and I would like to hand back to Radley to introduce the next speaker.
So what we like to do now is something we always do in the Solidarity and Compassion evenings, which is a brief meditation. And because this is a musical evening, I will do a compassion meditation in a call and response form together with Petra. Could you unmute Petra? So if Petra is also unmuted, that would be great. And so we will be going back and forth between compassion for self, compassion for a loved one, compassion for humans, compassion for our world, and intertwined, complemented with music. So make yourself comfortable. Let yourself settle into the sensations in your body. Notice the touch between your body and the chair, the ground. Allow your whole body to be filled with presence, with loving awareness. And feel where you are at right now, this moment. And notice breath brushing through ever so gently. Notice the sensation of the in-breath and the sensation of the out-breath. Being completely present with yourself. And surrender to breath breathing you. Your body expanding with the in-breath, letting go with the out-breath, letting go until the next breath brushes in naturally. And feel breath brushing through the area of your chest where your heart is. And notice what your heart feels like right now. Whether there's tightness or constriction, lightness or heaviness, ache or numbness. Just be with whatever it is. And in your mind's eye, see an image of yourself as you are right now these days. And notice what is easy and what is difficult for you right now. What makes you anxious or unsettled? What makes you afraid or frustrated? What makes you happy and curious? And see what it feels like to extend a sense of warmth, kindness, compassion towards yourself. And you might say silently to yourself, may I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be healthy in body, mind, heart, and soul. May I be patient with myself when I feel vulnerable. May I live my life at ease. May I be free. And again, feel your body, your heart. And now extend your well-wishing, your kindness, your warmth towards a loved one. Somebody close to you. Somebody who's easy for you to like or love. Somebody you may be worried about at times. And you might say silently to yourself, may you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May you be healthy in body, mind, heart, and soul. May you be kind with yourself when you feel vulnerable. May you live your life at ease. And again, feel your body, your heart. And now extend your well-wishing, your kindness, your warmth to all humans. Those humans in our community, people in our country, people in this world. To all those who are frightened right now, who feel insecure or unsafe. Those who are alone and those with others. Those close by, those far away. May we all be well taken care of. May we all be safe. And may we all be free. And again, feel into your heart and extend your well-wishing for all other than human beings, animals, creatures, the earth, the waters, the skies, and beyond. May we all be well taken care of. May we all be respected and cherished. May the whole world and beyond live with peace. Thank you, Petra. Danjo-san, would you sing for us the Heart Sutra? And whoever's the speaker, please unmute yourself.
So this Heart Sutra is all over the world, people, country, people, family, for children, and so free down the peaceful heart and peaceful society, become to the peaceful society. And so coronavirus, and I pray the gone, I hope. And so this Heart Sutra, 2,500 years ago, Buddha talking about our heart. It's intelligence, like intelligence. And Sanskrit in Pragyana, wisdom, about wisdom to sutra. Okay. Moko Nyaramita Haramita Ishoken Omkai Kudo Isai Kuyak Shari Shishike Hui Kuku Yishike Shike Sokuzeku Kuzokuze Shike Juso Shike Yakubenyoze Shari Shize Shokuzo Usho Metsu Kujo Udo Enze Koku Chumu Shikimuju Soyo Shikimu Enni Bize Shinni Musik Shoko Misoku Omu Genkai Naishi 무의식이 가임무묘약무묘지 나이시물로시 약물로시 무구슈메츠도무지약무덕 이무쇼덕고보다이 사타에 한야하라미타고 신무게 무게 고무구 운리 사이텐노무소 의원의 안산대 쇼부츠의 한야 아라미타 고토그 아노그타라 삼맥 삼모다이 고지 한야 아라미타 제다이진슈 제다이묘슈 제무조시 무토도주노조 이사이크 진지트 고고세츠 한야하라미타 슈석세츠 슈아츠 야테 야테 하라 야테 하라소 야테 모지스와카 한야신요 가테 가테 파라 가테 라삼 가테 보디 스바 오
Thank you, Danjo-san.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Sojourner Kincaid Rolle to speak to us. Just a few words why poetry is important in such a time like this, and to speak some of her poems.
Thank you. Thank you, Rodley, and everybody assembled. I'm so honored to be here and to be invited to be a part of this evening. It is something that I had not had a vision or imagined that I would be participating in. And so I'm really very pleased and honored. In terms of poetry and the time that we're living in, yeah, I do believe that poetry is something that has been with us for many, many years and that people have relied on in order to find solace within themselves and with other people. And it's a solo experience and a shareable experience. It is something that is new and is something that is old, because I think we can find solace as far back as time goes. Our original way of communicating was through poetry. And even when we think ancient civilizations, poetry, I think of, more recently, but even anciently, I think of Rumi, I think of Jahil Gibran, both of whom gave us poems that soothe the heart and specifically speak to the heart and let us understand our way of being a part of like the heart of the world, the heart of existence, the heart of being. It is something that is both shared and solitary, something we can do within ourselves. I feel that poetry is uplifting, whether we hear it from someone or whether we tell ourselves in our minds, in our heart, in our silence. If we say it out loud, we hear the resonance of it, the words, all of it is healing to me. One of the main underpinnings of poetry is the idea of mediari, the idea of healing. And so for me, that is why it is such a life fulfilling pursuit to pursue, to be able to communicate and express myself through poetry, express myself to others who hear me, but also it's a way of healing myself. I think we hear a lot about how our stories, people of the world yearn for their stories to be told. And there is a sense of uneasiness among us if we don't know each other. And one of the ways we know each other is through the poetries of our cultures, that our cultures that pass down stories, our families, our communities pass down stories of what happens in our lives and our cultures and our communities. And we feel that we are dealing with strangers unless that other person knows something about who we are and where we are coming from, or what motivates us. So I think that's one very, very, very big part of poetry. I think another thing is that allows people to know that they are not alone in something. If you hear a poem from someone and it speaks to a hurt that you have, a fear that you have, an insecurity that you have, it somehow or another is a palliative. It ameliorates some of the hurt that we feel or their sense of insecurity. Just to know that there's another person who might understand our own journey and therefore be more compassionate to our journey by understanding and knowing our story. I believe that you can soothe. It's just poetry and music. We consider poetry and lyrics of poetry and the songs we sing so interchangeable. It's just a matter of how we push the sound out of our mouths or out of our hearts. And so to me, poetry is a heart speaking to other hearts. Yes, a heart. So tonight I have chosen 3 short poems to read that, and I have to say that I changed my program because I feel that in this strive for peacefulness, that we understand our common stories. I'm very touched by everyone else's stories, and I like for my story to stand alongside everyone's, and then we feel as equals in our suffering and in our joy. you know, in our pain and sorrow and in our recovery from that. So it is something that binds us together. So the first poem I'm going to read is a small poem that actually is one that I feel is designed in some ways for young people, but is for all people. It's called I've Often Sat, and it really kind of speaks to that idea of aloneness and solitude. And I have to have the light over here so I can be sure and read it. I've often sat near softly rippling by me brooks, amid sweet smelling clover and bee-kissed blossoms, wildly growing in safety, our own sacred place, where only our being mattered, not to be plucked or cut nor trod underfoot. I've often gazed for hours in time suspended thought upon these wondrous blues and yellows and sometimes purples, lovingly caressing every breath of honeysuckle or night blooming jasmine, our essence shared in every inch of air, our sparks inextricably mingled, forever redeemed. And that was I've Often Sat. I like to sit by the little brooks and the little springs of water, and there's so much solace and solitude there. The second poem I'm going to read is called A Mouthful of Air, and it comes from the idea that nature abhors a vacuum. Air fills everything that does not have matter there. Leaves flutter at the slightest hint of breeze. Leaves fall endlessly. Whole branches sometimes tumble the way of a tree in concert with the wind. A mouthful of air could dislodge a boulder, set a mountain aslide. A puff can blow down a house and lift its entire contents into flight. Remember what keeps a paper plane aloft when other dynamics fail? A mouthful of air can whistle a note across the valley and send an army into war. That same note can stop a boot mid-step, halt all combat, cease all movement. Some days it is a yelp of joy that takes the breath away. Even if you hold your breath, your mouth is never empty. Air fills every seemingly voided space, ubiquitous, absorbent, the savory, the sweet, the bitter, the sucking in, the blowing back. One gasp can bring the lungs to life. The perfect blend of everything, nature's greatest harmony, air. Excuse me. And the final poem I'm going to read is entitled, excuse me, Grand Jeté, excuse me. I swallowed more than air that time. And Grand Jeté is a dance phrase, about a ballet phrase, and it means the dance of air. So we're still dealing with the air. Grand Jeté. And some people might know that it's when a dancer leaps into the air and their legs are extended in both directions, and it looks as if they're just suspended in air. You know, this it's like the highest bound of a dancer. Go inside a stone, that would be my way. Charles Simic. I would also say this poem is based on the idea of a book. There's a book called The Exaltation of Larks, which is a book about collective nouns and a way of naming. So I'm trying to name some emotions here. This flick of begin, this spark of sentience, this semblance of mingle, this worry of water, this carry of sound, this hope of profound, this murmur of prayer, this synapse of contain, this dance of air. This breath of death, not one melodious note escapes its tomb. This wish of memory, this ponder of mourning, this bellow of hallucination. As one we begin, as many we are strong, as one we are stronger. This essence of remain, this breath of retain, this life of begin, this synchrony of being, this holy bind of soul, this hallowed twine of love, a flock of many, a wing of one, we soar. Thank you.
Thank you, Sojourner. This was magnificent. Thank you. Now we are coming to Anahita, Navab, Holden, and she will talk to us a little bit about why music is so important right now, and plays a piece of music for us.
Thank you, Rolle. Can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up? Okay, great. So when thinking about the importance of music during a time like this, you know, two words come to mind. The first one being resonance. And this really is just how Sojourner named it. You know, so this concept of resonance being really the reverberation of an experience across multiple entities, right? So when we think about an instrument like the harp, and we hear that sound, that is the resonance, the resonance across the soundboard, and then it's emitted. But there's also a resonance that happens between us. You know, even in this experience of the Zoom room, we can feel this, and we can feel how there can be a sense of course, collective angst, but also there can be this experience of an upward spiral of positivity. And so music can create that. The second word being simplicity. I'm really thinking beautiful. One of my most favorite quotes by Bell Hooks is, "Living simply makes loving simple." I think so many of us are discovering the beauty of simplicity in a new way in this staying at home, in living in this smaller way in our lives. There's a lot of beauty in what's simple. And I think any musician here can agree that music is not necessarily simple. It can be very complex. However, that direct felt sense experience, the somatic experience of connection with music, opening the heart, that's the simplicity right there. Just opens the heart. So here's to simplicity and resonance. This is Corcovado by Astrud Gilberto. Quiet nights of quiet stars, quiet chords from my guitar, floating on the silence that surrounds us. Quiet thoughts and quiet dreams, quiet walks by quiet streams, and a window that looks out on Corcovado. Oh, how lovely. This is where I want to be. Here with you, so close to me, until the final flicker of life's ember. I, who was lost and lonely, believing life was only a bitter tragic joke I found with you. The meaning of existence.
Thank you, Anahita. This was so wonderful. Thank you. Next, I wanted to introduce Wendy VanderMey, who's a poet and photographer, professor from Westmont College. Please, Wendy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Radley and Michael, and also John Skidanoff for your invitation into this community. I see several friends and acquaintances out there, and I see a few that don't have video going that are friends, so I welcome them too. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about my work. I'm simply going to show and read. I have prepared a slideshow of images taken with my iPhone. All of these images are moments of attention that began with intuition and ended in revelation for me. And then later, as I meditated on them, along came the poetry. And that's what I post each day on Instagram, trying to use Instagram as an art medium. And so let me, I'm going to use the screen share, and it says host disabled attendee screen sharing. Is that?
Wendy, I think what I have to do is, and I thought I did that already, make you a co-host.
Yeah, it says share screen. Yeah, if you.
Is that working? One sec, let me just, where am I finding you? I thought I checked it earlier, but one moment.
It's lit up green on my screen where it says share screen.
No,
Okay,
no.
okay, I got it. And I thought I had done it before, but somehow, I'm so sorry. Now you're co-host.
Okay, wonderful. I will go. Let's begin. I'm not telling you my name. It's written on everything. You will read it with your feet. Wood to lumber, skin to leather, work to labor, boxes to bales, nature to nature, duration to time, art to content, virtue to fame, arguments to positions, cows to cattle to beef. The cat never even used the cardboard scratch pad, maybe once, but I still go all sad when I see it, especially when I try to peer through its many pores at a bright red hibiscus and see only scattered shards of light. Is there any object anywhere that does not remind us of the dead? Are there any dead that do not remind the living of living? Or any living that do not remind the living to love? They tell me to dance. I tell them I am dancing after my fashion. I tell them to smile. They tell me they are smiling in their own fashion. Told to care.
Randy, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we are not seeing your images.
My wife just gave me a note saying that, and all right, I will pause this. And so are you seeing me reading? Is that what's happening?
It's very nice though.
It was beautiful.
But you're not seeing the images on my screen. Okay, let me try this. Do you see it now?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Should I begin again?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm sorry for that. Let's begin again. I'm not telling you my name. It's written on everything. You will read it with your feet. Wood to lumber, skin to leather, work to labor, boxes to bales, nature to nature, duration to time, art to content, virtue to fame, arguments to positions, cows to cattle to beef. The cat never even used the cardboard scratch pad, maybe once, but I still go all sad when I see it, especially when I try to peer through its many pores at a bright red hibiscus and see only scattered shards of light. Is there any object anywhere that does not remind us of the dead? Are there any dead that do not remind the living of living, or any living that do not remind the living to love? They tell me to dance. I tell them I am dancing after my fashion. I tell them to smile. They tell me they are smiling in their own fashion. Told to care, we do care, they say, in our own way. We share your sorrow. What if we believed one another? If not today, then tomorrow. As we grow up, apart, away, the imprint of the family rises with us, a theater of shadows, jagged, sometimes beautiful ghosts. Dear son, I cannot say you've merely fallen on me when I myself have grown to meet you, and we've grown together in mutual gratitude, tacitly, like parent and child. So much going on in the soil, so much in the compost of time. All the dead in their capital cities, seeds debating which and when, all the winters going and coming springs, so much going on in the soul. Trying to end my own complicity in a system that privileges whites like me is like trying to sweep away my own shadow with a broom. After a tense exchange where each got done what each needed to do, but little was understood, long after, when it felt safe to come out, I realized there'd been a heart there, a heart beating all along, and it was ours. Don't look too closely unless you are a scientist, a doctor, a saint, a madman, or a fool. The look into stone, water, sky, or flame is a look into the human heart. Sea rack, sun track, hug and shiver, thank the giver. It takes more than a cruise to heal the deep bone bruise. Time alone it takes the bone. Begin the day open to the Maker, and all the diving, squawking, and squabbling that follows will be fitly framed. Imagine nothing first, then that everything, or just the sheerness of this one fine thing, were left for you like an unsigned package on the porch. Would you not call out to thank everyone you knew? I come here to lament. I come here to learn. I come here to live, not upon, but in and among. Between flicks of a shutter, I do. I was not there, but I believe when God said, "Let there be light," they was not issuing commands, but giving permission, letting it rip. Same for sun, moon, and stars, and for waters over and under the earth. Same for plants, animals, and us, especially maybe us. Rules came from order, not order from rules. And all rule in excess of the order of things is the calf heart's bawling cry for return to the way it was, and never can be, again can be, as the earth tumbles forward like a drunk on a bicycle toward that day, that impossible day when order and rule are once again one, with permission given simply to be. So I think, at least this morning, as I stumble barefoot to the root of the driveway, pick up the plastic bagged paper and spank off the dew. Listen to those who are wise, work with those who build, follow those who sacrifice for the good, feel with those who bless the meek.
That was magical.
Thank you, thank you.
Just a different world, even though it's the same world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wendy.
You're so welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, now we have some music, violin music from Yvette Holzwarth.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Hi, Yvette.
Hello. So I'm really happy to be here today with everybody. It's great to see your faces, and I've loved listening to all of you talk. I really was moved by the poem about the mouthful of air. I was thinking about how that really, Sojourner, is that how you, Sojourner? I was thinking about your poem and how that really communicated something so similar to music to me. And I'm going to play for you a little bit of a piece that I've been working on since quarantine began, which is Bach Partita #2 for violin. And I just started it with the goal of memorizing the whole thing, because it's a piece that I'd played before, but I'd never just memorized it and taken myself away from the page. And I'm just going to play a little bit of that for you now.
Bravo. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, I'm just so amazed, you know, for such a long time we had our solidarity and compassion evenings at Trinity Church, at the Unitarian Society, and then Zoom. And I think we finally learning to bridge that technical divide and making it really personal. So I'm just so grateful that we are able to do this and come to everybody's house who wants to be here. And next I want to introduce Teddy Macker, a poet who has been working with us for, is it 10, 15 years? I don't know, a long time. Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay? Great. Well, I just wanted to express my gratitude to Rolle and Michael and everybody here. This is a poor substitute, the Zoom room, I must confess, but it's better than, certainly better than nothing. And I've been really moved by what I've encountered so far, so thank you. I'm going to read a poem called Marguerite, and it's a poem that came out about a month ago now. Marguerite. As drone strikes fell from skies and executed children, Mary Oliver did not abandon roses busy being roses. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Henry Matisse once said, who near death with intestinal cancer during the Second World War painted cancer tutu. A woman in a strapless blue tutu on a bench beside a bouquet of purple and yellow flowers. Haiku poet Isa loses his mother early, his stepmother beats him, his first wife dies in childbirth, 4 of his children die in infancy, his house burns down, and still he writes, in the cherry blossoms shade, there is no such thing as a stranger. Marguerite Matisse, Henry's daughter, was tortured by Gestapo, then sentenced to Ravensbrück concentration camp, but escaped when her cattle car stalled out on the tracks. Marguerite, almost waif of history, her father's most frequent model, brown-haired, far from Paris, deranged with clarity, running, ripping through bushes, ducking under leaves, breaths hazy, running towards a village where no mother sings, no child plays, and 4 hens roost on the lowest branch of a pear tree. Marguerite, run. By God, run. Run uncaught, run undogged, run ungunned. Run unyielding whatever the terror. Marguerite, run. Never let go of the flower.
Wow.
Thank you guys for listening. I'm really grateful.
Oh. Will you send that out, Teddy?
Yeah, I've sent that out to some friends and family. It's one that feels very alive for me right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels very alive.
Oh, thank you.
Mm, thank you. Thank you, Teddy, through all those years.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have my picture of Barry right here above the desk, and he's in his painting studio, a studio at Neil Crosby's house. And he's standing in front of probably, no exaggeration here, probably 60 paintings that he did. They're all behind him. And it's this great image of the human being who won't let go of the flower, who won't let go of the need to privilege the unquantifiable, the intangible, the mysterious, the unsayable, the beautiful. And yeah, it's very inspiring.
Thank you, Teddy.
Thank you guys. Take care, you all.
Petra, would you grace us one more time with your beautiful music? Do we have Petra here? Petra?
Sorry, let's start again.
Thank you, Petra. It felt like this was the perfect music that came together with Teddy's poem. It just had kind of the same resonance, as Anahita would say, the same vibration. So thank you so much. Next, I want to invite our dear friend who has come to many of our evenings, Dave Rico. And Dave is a poet, a writer. He wrote a silly amount of books, wonderful amount of books, and brings Buddhism and Catholicism and psychology and the world together. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you, and thanks for inviting me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, very good.
Okay. In this plague time, I think more and want more closeness to the Divine Mother. So I would like to share 2 short poems to the Virgin Mary. In my lonely time, your arms alone can hold me, all of me, Mother of sorrows, Soledad. You won't come to make me less lonely. You go for higher stakes, Queen of daggers. You will be showing me how to be alone as you were, how to be just this, just here, just now. Then my loneliness will be my meeting me. There has never been a word for how it feels to have a mother like you, Mary, resting all my hungry hours, prizing every sigh and tear and smile. You open what in me can never fully close. And someday, you will lift me by my dying breath to your all-welcoming heart. I want my last word to be your name, Mary. I want to be lost in your beaming gaze, your hospice hosting eyes, in your arms that ached for my company since time began. My every longing all at once will cease. My own mother will be standing beside us, nodding her head in bliss and waiting her turn.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
What an image. What a beautiful imagery. I want to invite for a few moments one person who is instrumental in our school program. You probably know that Mindful Hearts has many different programs, and one is our school program. And so I want to Harrison to speak just for one moment before we end our evening with Petra one more time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Harrison, and I work with Radley and Michael for the nonprofit that they co-founded, Mindful Heart Programs. This program that we enjoyed tonight is one of the many wonderful programs of the nonprofit, and they've invited me to speak about another amazing program that we offer. It's called the Kind Mind Program. It's a school mindfulness program that teaches mindfulness, compassion, and nature connection to children in the schools of Santa Barbara. And it's an exciting time for this program. We're growing by leaps and bounds. Last year, we were in all the classes at Santa Barbara Community Academy. And at the end of the year, the principal was so impressed, so overjoyed with the results that she wants us back this year. The teachers overwhelmingly want us back this year. The students overwhelmingly loved the program. They want us back this year. And as a matter of fact, now Roosevelt Elementary School also wants us to launch a program at their school for the first time this year. And the district is so interested in our program that they are going to be evaluating our program for potential expansion district-wide. So it's an exciting time for our program, but there's a catch. And that is that last year, we were funded through a generous grant from the Bauer Foundation. And they've indicated that they are willing to reinvest in our program under one condition, that we show that we are able to raise funds from other sources so that the Bauer Foundation isn't the only source of funding for this program. They want to see us raise funding and support from our community. And so tonight we're asking for a generous donation from you towards the Kind Mind program. It's an important time because we've got the pandemic, we've got social unrest. It's been very difficult on the students, on the teachers, on the schools and the families. And this Kind Mind program is the antidote to those challenges, to the anxiety and worry during this difficult and historic time in human history. So we're asking you to make a generous donation to the Kind Mind program. I will post in the chat some links to our website where you can make a donation. If you want to speak further about this, you can contact me through the website. The email is on that website. The website is kindmindsb.org. That's kindmindsb.org. And if you'd kindly consider a donation, we'd be so grateful. Thank you so much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Harrison. And again, sorry to bother you with a little bit of fundraising, but it just has come to this pivotal point right now where there is support offered when we just get a little bit of more funds together. And it just seems such a critical time. And I think what's happening is that many other fundraising agencies invest right now very understandably in electricity and rent and food, and it's so important that that's given. However, I think we also realize kids are getting depressed. Suicide is on the rise amongst youth. And we also were in Santa Barbara Junior High and La Cuesta and Santa Barbara High School. So that's why I'm so sorry again. I apologize, but we just make a little bit of an urgent plea to you. So Petra, would you come on one more time and play for us a little bit? Thank you so much, Petra. Would it be possible to play one more song for us? Thank you. Thank you so much, Petra, and thank you so much to everybody who has participated tonight in performing and participated in listening. And this makes our community. And I think when I first started these solidarity and compassion programs together with Michael, I said I would continue this until the government changes. And so we hope that will be November, and we hope we will continue even after that, however it will turn out in some ways. So I think especially the next few months will be really important to keep our hearts steady and open and wide, and even though we are isolated and quarantined at home, to be together whenever we can. So I wanted to thank you very much, and hope to see you next month. And I think next month we are thinking of bringing in practices of different peace, loving kindness, compassion practices from different sources that also help us steady the heart. So thank you very much and have a wonderful evening. I will just put the gallery view on again in case you want to say goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Good dream.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sojourner. Sojourner, it was such a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Send any art that you may want shared with the community to the Mindfulheart Program's Gmail address. I can't give you a plane ticket to the Gaslight Cafe in Greenwich Village or a trailer in Big Sur, but I would be interested in the idea of creating kind of like a little bohemian artistic circle. So if any of you have stuff that you'd like to share with other people that are involved here, please send it to our email and I'll try to see if I can get it set up on a little collaborative page.
That'd be wonderful. And we've also recorded tonight. So now we have wonderful people like John and Eden who edit our performances. So we'll put it out, and so it will be available later. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Natalie. Shout out to Sojourner.
Yeah, oh my gosh, all the artists were incredible. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing.
Good night.
Love you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That was so heartwarming. I needed that. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Danjo-san. I
Hi.
love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, me too.
Hi, Radley.
Hi.
It was a beautiful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindful Heart program. I really appreciate it. Petra, your music was the perfect sound for our evening here. And Sojourner, thank you as always for your work and your spirit that shine for so many of us right now. Thank you.
Thank you, beautiful community.
I want to thank Michael before he leaves. There he goes. And Rolle, thank you. I was nestled in between you both as Pamela Joliet Garland, who left me last week or so. And Michael, you guided me to the most wonderful hospice at Serenity House.
Oh, nice to see you. I didn't recognize you, and I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that Pamela left us.
And yeah, the music was perfect, and the shares were good, and everything. The poetry was fine. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
And maybe she joined us tonight.
Oh, definitely,
Somehow.
right here, right here with these little zinnias that she absolutely adored.
Yeah, she would probably have loved this evening.
Well, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Thanks, Harrison.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
Harrison.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your screensavers get better and better.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of compliments on this one.
Nice to see you, Alex.
Yeah. Hello, nice to see you. I'm sorry I got a little late in. It was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. How's the
I
little
miss you
one?
guys.
You have now
He's
two.
growing. Yes, almost 2, 1.5. Talking and chasing chickens. It was wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
So good to see you, Mohammed. And Leila. And Anne and Elaine. I have to unmute. Has to unmute. I tried to unmute Mohammed, but I cannot. There you are.
Just a second. Let me put this. Go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you so much. It was fantastic.
Thank you so much. Your daughter is amazing.
It's her.
Hello.
I'm innocent. I'm innocent. It's all her. I stayed in the lab so that she will do a good job. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Take great care. Please take good care. Do you walk a lot? Do you walk?
I love to walk. Michael is walking every day to the hospital and back.
Lovely. Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche says the greatest thoughts come during walking.
I believe it.
I love it. We all think it's good for the body, but he says the greatest thoughts come during the walking. So I like it. A lot of good things. Yeah. And one of my friends says, I deep breathe when walking. I breathe deeply when walking because you have heard that. Clearly, it does 4 big things, deep breathing. 1, helps the autonomous nervous system, ANS. Reduces blood pressure, controls the blood pressure. 3, makes you feel satiety. Reduces hunger. I love it. And it massages the forgotten corners of the lungs.
Oh.
Because old days we used to work hard and breathe hard, and we use higher capacity of our lungs. Now that we don't do enough activity, heavy activity, corners of lungs are forgotten. Good night.